Hello everyone, today in this video we will fight against the Atmas character of our world around us, and this time we will talk about difficult choices that people are forced to make in their lives. I mean choices that later, after these events passed, and we are happy to live after them, or we were happy to live close to them because we are not involved. And many people think that it's easy to judge choices of some other people, and they do it. Their ability to judge and the way how easy they can really put their statements and be so judgmental towards the people from the past is scary sometimes. Here I mean, for instance, the people who joined Waffen-SS forces during Second World War 1941-1945 to fight against Bolshevism, against communistic Soviet Union. We need to remember that since 1941 till 1945, even National Socialistic Germany, so Germany under National Socialistic Party regime, this was the only organized force strong enough to oppose progress of the Bolshevik monster of Soviet Union army. And many people in Western Europe hated communism, and they really eagerly volunteer to serve in the Waffen-SS units of many nations, like Wallonians, like Dutch, like Danish, like Norwegians, and many others, to fight against Soviet Union. Some of them had a very conservative, very Catholic or very Protestant view, or simply very conservative. Not all of them were religious. Some of them were followers of ideology of Nazi party, some of them not. But we have to remember that sometimes life pushes us into such a situation that whatever we choose, we will be criticized. If we do nothing, we would be criticized that we did nothing. If we choose one side, the winners or the losers, we would be criticized that we have chosen winners or losers. So these are the situations in which people have very difficult choices to make. And I really appreciate, as I said, these volunteers who volunteered to Waffen-SS formations and were fighting against Bolshevism. Because, in my opinion, and here I agree with Leon Degrelle, they slowed down the march of the Red Flood into Europe, and we have to be grateful to them. I really admire President Ronald Reagan for many things, but I also admire him that he was brave enough in 1985, in the 40th anniversary of the end of Second World War in Europe. He put flowers uh, in the Bitburg Cemetery on the graves of the Waffen-SS volunteers who fall fighting together with German armed forces. Okay, Bitburg is in the Western Germany because some of these units were rotating, especially at the end of the war, 44-45. They were rotating from one front, Eastern Front, to the Western Front, especially when Ardennes offensive took place. So some of them were rotating. But their main task, we shouldn't forget, till the end of the war, was fighting against the communistic avalanche that was coming from the east. And they did it well. They served till the final hours of the war with great dedication, with many losses, with many sufferings, but they showed that they were real soldiers, really seriously treating their oaths, and many of them lost their lives and left their bones on the front line, fighting against the worst thing that could happen to humanity, and this worst thing is communism. That's why, despite the fact they didn't choose the best side, but there was not a better one. We shouldn't remember about them, and we should praise their achievements, and be thankful to them, especially Western Europeans, that they stop Red Avalanche. They didn't allow Red Avalanche to go further. This is a really complicated picture of our human history. Very often there are no good, no bad heroes. There are simply necessities, and there are simply things that need to be done at the moment. And similar situation we have now in the territory of formerly British Mandate of Palestine. So nowadays Israel, West Bank, Gaza Strip, Lebanon, and soon maybe other countries like Jordan. We have a conflict between two determined sides willing to have their state, their independence, and their way of living, their freedoms. I do not want to go to the details because this discussion always sparks many controversies, sparks many explosions of emotional reactions, I have to say even that. But one thing is sure, in this conflict, there are no good people, there are no bad people. There are people who are the tools of superpowers, this is one thing, of current superpowers, and they are people fighting for their own survival, because somehow these nations are not able to live together in peace. There are many reasons for that, but this is for different topics. I was talking about it a little bit in my previous videos. That's why I think that we shouldn't support, if we want to be honest, any of the sides of the conflict. We should support peace, because we have to remember that now Palestinians are using mainly terror and deception, because these are the best weapons of the weaker ones in the conflict. But we should remember that also during British Mandate of Palestine, Jewish people started with Haganah, Irgun, and a group of Mr. Stern that later splitted with Irgun to spread even more terror against British and Arabs neighbors. So we see that because they were fighting for the independent Jewish state, so we see that both sides actually are using the same methods. Currently Palestinians copied Jewish methods of action from the past, because now they are the weaker ones after British left, and we have all the time creeping conflict exploding from time to time more, and currently situation is quite serious. But as I said, there are no good people in this conflict. Of course, I take aside civilians from both sides, because they are really innocent victims and it shouldn't happen from both sides. But I mean leadership of both sides. Among people who are really leadership of these both sides, there are no good people, there are no innocent people, and the rights to this land, who have larger, who have smaller rights, are also debatable. I do not want to go into the details and say which side I support or I don't, because honestly, I support peace and living together in one state and working together for common good. This is what I support, and I hope that one day in this piece of land it will be also possible. But I know that now many people make choices. I support Palestinians, I support Jews, and so on and so on. But later, please remember that in the future some people will come and they will sit in comfortable room, drinking coffee, drinking tea, and writing or talking, and they will judge you, and they will judge your choices, depending on their political views, final solution of this problem that's currently ongoing in the Middle East, and they will really be very judgmental. They will not take into account all circumstances that pushed you or people similar like you to support this side or the other. That's why in such conflicts that are really long lasting and solution is not simple, and Origins of this conflict are not so straightforward, and rights of both sides to this land are not so straightforward. One should always opt for peace, peaceful solutions, and hopefully, in the nearest future, peaceful coexistence of these two nations, or even more, because there are not only these two nations. Peaceful coexistence of nations living there within one state, working for common good. This is what I wish to these people, and this is what I hope for. Take care, have a nice day, bye.